Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's an Insecure review. Okay, another one. This is for Insecure Season 4, Episode 5, Low Key Moving On, and a pivotal episode, I would say. Not a lot happened, but a lot did happen. It's a lot to unpack here. Very subtle, but there in our face, you guys. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys. So the show starts with Issa feeling pretty down on herself. Okay, stressed out because she doesn't know what she's going to do. Schoolboy Q is not performing at her block party, and she needs to have a keynote. She needs to have a keynote performer. So, yeah, she's moping around the house. She finally decides to get on social media, check her block party page, and she sees that old Nathan has left a message. Okay, he can't wait to come. So she DMs him because both of them can't sleep. Issa calls him. He's joking around with her. It's cool that she called. I said, ooh, that Nathan is still fine, child. Still fine. Even though he did her wrong. But anyway, he's just joking around with her. He can't, when he comes, he's wondering if he's going to get the VIP treatment and this, that, and the other. But she's finally made contact with Nathan, and we know that Nathan knows Andrew, and Andrew works for Live Nation. So this is sort of her way of possibly still getting what she needs. This is also the time when we realize at the beginning of the season when she's on the phone with somebody and she says she don't fuck with Molly anymore. Well, she was talking to Nathan. Now we know. And this episode is the reason why she doesn't. Speaking of Molly, she and Andrew are at the house, and she doesn't really want to go to this block party. She's a little salty because Issa didn't come to some celebration party that she was having because she won her big case that she was now. Granted, Issa has been working very hard on this block party. And possibly if their friendship wasn't in the space that it was right now, considering Issa didn't help Molly, Molly didn't help Issa out with this whole Live Nation thing, and Andrew, I don't know if, she should have expected Issa to be there, but see, this is where their friendship is. It's been back and forth. Both of them have been leaving each other hanging. They haven't had this discussion that they definitely needed to have. It's been one thing piled on top of each other and causing this bigger rift, but they both kind of fall into this same pattern of sort of using each other, but then, still not coming through for each other. So they definitely needed to have had this conversation. They haven't had it. So while she's sitting there complaining and talking to Andrew, he finally is tired of it. Maybe we shouldn't go to this block party. She was like, of course we're going to go. This is too big of an event for Molly to miss without it just 100% looking like she was being a flat out hater. So they're going to the event. She just needs to let off a little steam with Andrew, I guess. So the block party, you guys, Issa's there and she's running it. She's got an assistant there. What was her name? Sequoia. And Sequoia is helping her with the vendors and everything that's getting set up. And I was proud of Issa because you remember when she said she wanted to do this? Well, here we are today. She's a little disappointed. She tells Kelly that it's just white people there, but we know white people get everywhere on time. It just opened though. It just opened. Black people, it takes us a little time. We need the sun to come out, and warm up the place. And then we finally decide to get dressed and go on down there. So everybody's on their way, Issa. If I don't know anything, I know that about LA. Anywhere really. So while she's walking around, just trying to make sure everything is good, the struggle poet is up there, very deep, one of these ones. Lisa's listening to her. She ain't really that good. Issa's like, please get her down. But while she's walking around, she sees Condole there. Well. Surprise, surprise. Issa surprised that Condola's there. I was too, considering. Okay. So when she walks up to Condola's sort of like, yeah, all's well, she's just there to check on the vendors, make sure that, they're in place. One is coming, but they're late. They're going to pass out, giveaways and all of this stuff. And Issa was like, oh, okay, good. And then she says, did I do something wrong? You just kind of fell off the face of the earth. And Condola was like, oh, Lawrence didn't tell you? And Issa was like, tell me what? And she said, we broke up. Now, when she said Lawrence didn't tell you, that bothered me because one, it makes it seem like you are insecure in thinking that your man talks to his ex-girlfriend all the time. I mean, obviously Condola thinks that. Issa genuinely didn't know. Lawrence did, I guess, had planned to tell her, but he never did. So, Condola thinking just automatically that they had already talked. And, I was just like, girl, well, then obviously, you already had thought that maybe Lawrence and Issa was going to make it back to each other. So, yeah, maybe that thing with Condola and Lawrence was just not going to work. But Issa tells her she's sorry. She didn't know, and, it's just awkward. But Condola is just like, yeah, I'm just going to walk around and make sure everybody's okay. And, Issa's just sort of like, okay, and thanks. So even though her and Condola are in this weird space now, at least the business of the block party is being taken care of. So Derek and Tiffany, they're there. They're over by the step and repeat with Kelly, taking pictures. And when Issa goes over there, she is, her friends are there for her. They think this whole thing is dope. Kelly was like, I didn't even get this whole block party thing, but she does now. And like, damn, you did this. And she's real proud of her. That damn Kelly and that fucking British accent when the guy came over, Kelly was like, she met him and he thinks that she's from Britain, so she had to put her British accent on. So I was cracking up. But anyway, Issa asked Derek and Tiffany if they knew that Lawrence and Condola had broken up. Well, they didn't know. Okay. And Derek actually was a little offended that Lawrence didn't tell him, so what's up with that? I was actually surprised that Lawrence was not at the block party, but I guess with all of this shit going on with him and Condola, yeah, I guess maybe he wouldn't come, but I sort of thought that he would be there. But anyway, while she's over there talking to them, her assistant comes and gets her and says that, press is there, media is there, and they want to interview her. So, okay, go on with your big bad self, Issa. So she goes over there and there's a woman there with her whole camera team, her microphone, and she is interviewing Issa, about the block party, where the vision came from, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so after they finished their interview and Issa's like, okay, where can I see this? And she was like, oh, it's on my YouTube channel. She ain't really on TV. And Issa was like, oh, okay. Like, well, we know that Issa started on YouTube, so she has a certain, even though the real Issa did, not this one. But she was like, okay, well then what's the channel? And the girl was like, oh, yeah, I haven't started it yet. Which is like funny because, as a YouTube, you always hear people that say they want to start and they never get started. People always send me inbox messages asking me, what does it take? And I was like, you just got to get started. You just have to do it. There's not really no blueprint, Yes, there are people that just automatically go viral, but for the most part, you got to work hard at that shit. You got to stay consistent at that shit. You got to do it all the time. You got to make the time and you got to be serious about it. So that's always my first piece of advice for anybody that's trying to start a YouTube channel. Anyway, back to the show. A little part where we see Tiffany. We a little worried about Tiffany. We saw last week that Tiffany is having a hard time with the baby. This might be a little bit something more than baby blues because she jokes about leaving the baby at, the grocery store or something like that. And, she's drinking. She's not breastfeeding anymore. Tiffany is just happy to be away from the baby. Being a first-time mom, I can remember some of those days, you guys. If you guys haven't seen my story time, I'm talking about when I, had severe postpartum depression. And y'all check that video out. But she's definitely dropping clues to her friends that something is not right. Molly and Andrew are there. And actually, Issa is surprised to see Molly there. She actually didn't think that Molly was going to show. And Molly said, of course I would. We besties. She's going to be there. When she said that, Issa was just like, oh, okay. It doesn't seem like it these days. But like I said, both Molly and Issa are guilty of taking advantage and maybe not being attentive to their friendship these days. So it's weird with them. Issa's brother gets there and he sort of kind of breaks up whatever they got going on, talking. It was funny, the little back and forth between him and Kelly. Kelly still trying to maintain this fucking British accent. That bitch said that she, wherever she lived, she was just a biscuit toss away from Benny Hill. Woo! I said, nigga, not Benny Hill. Anyway, another thing that confirms that Tiffany is kind of over the baby right now is, Derek is on the phone with the babysitter, and the babysitter calls and tells him that the baby won't stop crying. Okay. And so he's like, oh, okay, we'll be there, right away. So he hangs up and he tells Tiffany the baby is crying, they got to go. But Tiffany doesn't want to go, and so she was just like, kind of like, can I stay? And he says, yeah, fine. He's gonna leave though. So Derek leaves. But anyway, the entertainment, we start seeing the different performers up there on stage. Shout out to Cam and China. They are twin girl rappers out in LA who my friend helped produce and has managed with them and a lot. Okay. So I was proud to see them because I don't know the girls, but I always hear my friend talk about them, and they're involved with their family very much. So shout out to Cam and China, the girls that was up there. But there were quite a few different performers up there, and it's good that Issa always looks out for the home team. Okay, she's always going to support the LA rappers, whether or not they've made it or not. And I like that about her. Now we see Molly and Andrew sitting on a little sofa, and they're just enjoying the day. And this is the part where we start to realize what's what. So, they're talking, and Andrew's actually impressed, like, damn, Issa really did it with this thing here. Look at how nice it is. And Molly was like, yeah, this is really nice. She can't even believe it herself. Okay. He was like, so now you see, it's like really hard to put together something like this. This is a lot of work. That's probably why Issa hasn't really been around. Okay. She's been busy. And Molly was like, clearly she's been busy. Now, when she said that, at that point, I thought that maybe she was like kind of giving Issa a break. Like, okay, yeah, this is why, her head is definitely in this game and not, so I was thinking that Molly was sort of thinking like that, like, okay, now I get it. But we'll visit that in a little bit. Jumping back over to Issa, Nathaniel gets there. Okay, still fine. Yeah. I was proud that Issa was still business minded, He was telling her, like, this is dope. Like, damn, can you remember we was at the festival last year and you said that this is what you wanted to do, and now it's here. Okay. She's still a little disappointed. All the white people there, where the black people at and all that. He was like, well, you just live in the moment. Like, be happy with what's happening right now. Everything else is falling into place, and this is dope. Everything is really good. We was giving Issa her flowers right then. Okay. She did a good thing. And, for Issa, all of the time that she's been on the show, and we kind of just see her like floundering around and all of that, is good to see that she kind of put her mind to it and it happened. Even if it was with Condole's help, in the end, it really all fell on Issa. They give us another shot of the performers up there. We have Sir and Sakura, which is like a Sakuri, I think his name was, or Zakori. Anyway, they, Sir, you guys all know Sir. Love his album. Anyway, while they're performing, we see Issa, she takes a break. Okay, just kind of looking around, soaking it all in, like, damn, I did do this. So while she's sitting there, just leaning up against the wall and people watching, Molly comes up to her. She's kind of stepping gingerly, but she's also, you can tell that she's trying to come over there, and maybe they can finally talk about their friendship. They've been trying to do this talk since Thanksgiving, remember? And before Issa can even, before they can even start, even though this is really not the place to do it. Like, let's enjoy this night, but truly try to make a commitment to talking to each other now that the block party will be over. But I guess Molly was like, she got her here, she got a moment, maybe they can talk. But then Issa gets pulled off again. She's working. She's not able to talk to Molly. And Molly is sort of looking like, damn, again. Okay, we just can't seem to make this happen. So Sequoia pulls her over so that she can meet, she can talk to the guy that's going to be performing. What was his name? Vince? Vince and his manager, you know, are you guys good? She made sure that she got everything that he wanted on his rider and everything. You know, this is going to be really good. She even see her old homeboy, her old neighbor, you guys know the one that was a blood who just refuses to say, let us see. She asked him how he was. He said, everything's bull. Child, it was a flash from the past. So I was like, oh, I miss him. Anyways, back to the block party. So it's a good time had by y'all. The DJ plays Wobble. You guys know when Wobble comes on, we all must dance. Okay. And this was our little form of unity. Okay. In the community, everybody up there, everybody doing the exact same dance, everybody enjoying themselves. Something about those line dances always just gets us, you know, in our happy place. And we see Molly and Issa up there dancing right next to each other. And it was just like, okay, this is good. This is good times. You know, this is old times. Everybody's enjoying themselves. Like, look, Issa really successfully pulled off an event in LA and there ain't been no drama, ain't been nobody running. It ain't, you know, so I'm thinking that, right? Afterwards, Issa really does sort of get her kudos when she goes up there on stage. To kind of just thank everybody for coming, you know, but these people ain't really here to see Issa. Yeah, we always appreciate the event, but we don't need to know all of that, who gave it. Okay, bring on the entertainment. Okay, Vince. I don't know this kid, but obviously people know him. Okay, so, but I don't really know Schoolboy Q like that. You know, I think I'm too old. So, but yeah, he seemed like he was talented enough. He got up there, he did his thing. So we go back to Molly and Andrew, you know, they're standing there, they're enjoying everything. And Vince's manager comes over and thanks Andrew, you know, for this hookup. All right. Amongst other things while they're talking. But Molly is listening and she was just like, hookup? Like, what hookup? And he was just like, oh, you know, I ended up getting Vince for Issa. You know, Nathan asked me, but no big deal. It was just an email. Like it was nothing, you know, but shit, to Molly, it is. She's upset. Now I'm trying to think of all the reasons why Molly would be upset about this. And I was just like, okay, Molly, girl, what exactly is the issue here? Okay. Issa asked you, and yes, granted, Issa should not have asked Molly in the first place, considering their friendship was where it was. Like somebody said in my comments last week or a couple of weeks ago, you know, Issa is very bad at taking verbal cues. So she never realizes that maybe you just shouldn't ask certain things, okay? So Issa probably shouldn't have asked Molly. Remember I was saying that they needed to have this conversation, but she did. Molly said no. She didn't want to jeopardize her relationship, and I understood that. Okay. You don't want to start asking favors for somebody, you know, you just kind of want to keep that separate. So I kind of got that. But now Molly is upset that Issa took a different route. Remember, Issa knows Nathan and Nathan knows Andrew. This is a different route. Okay. You didn't want to help, so we go this other route. Now it's the end of the night. Everything went beautifully. Everything went smoothly. Everybody is giving Issa her kudos. Like, you made this happen. Like, damn, this was the bomb. You know, it was all successful. Like I said, it hasn't ended in any type of fight, no gunplay. We ain't had the police there arresting nobody. None of that. So Molly comes up to her and it was just like, so you asked Andrew to get this, you know, Vince for you, even after I told you no. And Issa was like, yeah, I didn't want to bother you anymore. And she was like, but we had already talked about it. Issa doesn't understand what the problem is. So really, you wanted me to fail? Like, I asked you to help me with something this big. You knew it was huge for me and you just flat out told me no. Okay, so I used a different avenue. You knew how much this meant to me. And instead you chose your new relationship over me. So like, what you mad about? Molly tells her that she always needs help. Okay, well, maybe that might be true. But you know, that's your friend. So what's wrong with that? Like I said, the problem is that them two was already in a bad place. Issa was like, really, Molly, are you doing this right now? Like, I don't even have time for your drama. Tiffany jumps in like, oh, you guys, we were having such a good time. But nobody feels like hearing that, Tiffany. Go away. Take care of your baby. Molly basically feels like Issa is a user. Issa tells Molly that she's always starting shit, you know, and she needs to figure out her own fucking drama. That Molly said, I should have dropped your fucking lying ass a long time ago. And Issa was like, I've been stopped fucking with you. Okay, so now we done really got bad. Because now Molly is all up in Issa's face and there's a little pushing and going on. And then next thing you know, somebody says somebody has a gun. And that's the LA that I know. I was just like, I was wondering when it was going to happen. You guys, I still have PTSD from all of the events that I've been in LA. Now, I told you guys before, in Atlanta, when I go someplace and it's like a big space with a lot of people there, I always check out the exits and I always keep my ass close to those exits because, bitch, you ain't going to catch me. Nigga, I'll be nervous when it be a whole bunch of people, especially if everybody is just kind of standing real close, even though we won't have many of those days again for a long time. But yeah, that has all. LA is good for either somebody shooting or just somebody saying that there's a gun and there being some, people running. So, because Molly decided to go up to Issa at that time, it caused all of this. And good thing it's at the end of the night. So many of the people probably had left. I'm sure all the white people was gone. And that kind of just put a little damper on the night. But finally, everybody gets themselves together, I'm assuming. Molly is so upset still. She should feel a little bad for bringing all of that up. Like I said, they probably could have talked about this after the event. The thing is, though, is that Molly has been trying to talk to Issa, and Issa has always been avoiding her. I don't know if it's just been on purpose, or if she's just been so busy with this event, or if it's because she is one of those ones who like to avoid confrontation and doesn't want to kind of get into this whole thing with her friend. It's a whole bunch of things about Issa that is a flaw. They both have flaws about themselves, okay? Molly, and then I've also told you guys about how sometimes we have friends and we've been friends with them for so long and have been through so much shit with them that eventually, you kind of outgrow each other because you guys are tired of dealing with each other's shit in that way. You don't allow each other to grow out of that space because that's all you guys know. I wouldn't call it a toxic friendship, but it's just sort of like, you were young and you guys was figuring shit out and it's just a whole lot going on. And then you get older and the friendship doesn't work anymore. And so I kind of feel like, well, I don't kind of, because I've been telling you guys this all season. I feel like they have outgrown their friendship. I have been trying to be fairer to Molly because now I figured that Molly has her ways, but Issa definitely has her ways as well. But this episode fell more so on Molly. Okay, I felt like she was probably low-key jealous because Issa made this event happen without her, even though she spitefully didn't want to help her. And I even think that when she had that conversation earlier, when he said that clearly she's been busy, and she was like, clearly, like, she did all this and I still didn't even help her, kind of deep down inside. I don't know if she would ever admit that, but I kind of felt like all of these emotions was going on in Molly. Okay. So yeah, on this episode, I feel like Molly, even though I felt like she had taken some steps forward the last couple of episodes, this definitely was a giant step back. Okay. You look like a hater friend. Okay. Again, you make scenes at the end of nights that are important to Issa. At the very least, you could just have waited. But again, I must admit that Issa probably would avoid another conversation. So you see where I'm saying? Like, these two just kind of are stuck in this cycle. And once you start feeling like this about your friend, then it's time to give it a break. And that break might last forever. But anyway, Molly's leaving. Andrew feels bad. He's, definitely doesn't want to come between Molly and Issa. But Andrew is not even the issue right here. We see Issa. She's sort of down. Tiffany tells her it's going to blow over. You want to ride back with us. No, Issa just kind of wants to stay and kind of make sure everything is okay. But, yeah, it was definitely a damper on the night. When she walks over to the stage and she sees the sign that says positive vibes only, I think that is the moment that Issa decided that she's not going to fuck with Molly anymore. Good episode, you guys. What did you guys think? All right, you guys, that's it. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is for itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right, all right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, rock stars. Bye.